one that Dante records, he's riding along in between the cows and comes out and he says, let me see it. And I asked Dante, what did your brother say? And he said, this was no good. Do it again. Record it again. And so he's getting ready to go out, and he hits the hole, and he hits the. And Dion has always been scared of a broken neck. Always scared of broken neck, and so he jumps out. And when he jumps out, and the side by side just turns over, and that little bar falls right on his head.
And I run to check on Dion, and I'm trying to lift the side by side. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not strong enough to pick this up by myself. And I'm like, guys, I need your help. Can y'all just help me get it up, get it off of him? And we do. We get it. We flip it up right, roll him over and check him to see, and I roll him over, and I'm like, just immediately start doing compressions. I'm like, Dion, wake up, Dion. Dion, talk to me, because his eyes are closed. And I'm like, Dion. And Dante's coming around like, Dion. And I'm telling Dante, get back, please, just get back. I want you to see your brother. Don't look at this. Stay there. We're doing it. And the deputy pulled me back. He's like, I got this. I said, no, y'all go ahead and keep calling. I got this. I said, yeah, give me wings. Just give me a helicopter. And they were like, no, Dino, get up. We got this. I said, no, I got this. Y'all just, I'm good. I know this. And they pulled me off of it, and they dropped down. They started doing the compressions and everything, started doing CPR. And I'm like, let me check. I said, I need to check him. I said, let me check him. And then I could feel his arm, and I could feel the pulse. And I'm like, no, stop compressing. I said, stop. Let me feel. And they're like, no, we got this. We're going to still do it. I said, no, guys, y'all got to stop. Just stop. And they paused for a second. I was like, you can stop. You can let it go. He's like, no, we got this, Stutts. We got this for you, bro. We got it. And they jump and they keep doing CPR. And I'm like, no, you can let it go, man. I know he's gone. I said, you sure? I said, I just Googled it real quick. I said, oh, Miss got junior day. Alabama's closer. It's junior day. Yeah. And he was like, I said, you can even do Mississippi State if you want to do. He's like, nah, Dad, I want to go to Arkansas. Let's go to Fayetteville. Let's do Arkansas. I'm like, man, this is going to be a drive. I can't remember why you didn't want to go. My wife was like, yeah, well, what conference? Something was going on with her, but she was like, okay, if y'all want to go, go.
I wasn't going.
She wasn't feeling it.
I wasn't going to Arkansas.
That's
you understand, she always graduated, so of course.
So, and I just kept thinking, I'm not gonna like it. I'm not gonna like it. So when Coach Pittman called, I'm like, okay. And then I really couldn't hear him. So this whole thing was terrible. And he kept saying, I can't hear you. And I was like, let me just be a little more serious. So I said, hey, and Dion was like, don't tell him. And it was about our reception. I said, Coach, give me a minute. I can't hear you now, but I'm gonna fix it. And so we all get in the car, and Dion's just pulling stuff, whatever, and we go and sit in Piggly Wiggly parking lot, and Coach says, hey, I can hear you good now. What did you do? I said, we drove to Piggly Wiggly. And Dion was so embarrassed. And I said, hey, they just got to know who we are. I said, you said country, didn't you? And so anyway, so the conversation was really good. And he said, I want y'all to come on down. And I thought,
come to the spring game.
And get all your questions written down, and you're gonna whatever. And I'm thinking, oh, you're gonna fail this. This is gonna be bad, So I kind of let the easy ones go on, but then I got to the hard one, which to me, mental health. And I was like, what do you have for athletes? Do not tell me that there's a counselor on staff that's gonna come in, whatever. I need to know who can he talk to, because this is his first experience, and he's gonna get homesick. And so, what do you got? And he said, I love you. I'm going to show you. And he told him to pack me up and take me over to that building. And I was just like,
to the West Center.
Wow. Okay. And I remember he told me, I think it was 3 or whatever. And
3 on staff.
3 on staff and something. And no, he said 3 on staff and whatever. So we were done. Well, then we get in the meeting with everybody. And in the middle of this meeting, I'm there. And they're talking about something. They talk about the West building or something. And he looks over at me and he goes, I'm getting ready to get a 4th counselor. And I was just like, you get it. Okay, you get it. You get it. You understand what I'm talking about. So Coach Pittman looks at him, whatever, and Dion says the strangest thing, and I'm mad because I'm thinking he's gotten smart with Coach Pittman. He says, Coach, he said, I ain't got to call you. He said, there's no need for me to call you. And I'm thinking, really?
And he stands up.
And he stands up.
And I'm like, well, time to go.
We're time to go. So we grab all our coats, and we're like, okay, now we're ready to go. And he reached over and he says, this big shake. He said, I'm 110% in.
Committed.
He said, I'm committed to Arkansas. And we chills, and I'm telling you, tears. And I was crying, and I looked over, he's crying, then brother's crying. And then I was like, Coach Pittman, why are you crying? And Coach Pittman's crying. And then Dion says, the only thing I need, Coach, is you got to talk to my granddaddy. And then I'm like, really? Coach Pittman tells everybody to wait and gets on the phone and call my dad and tells him.
Yo, video me. All right, I'm scared. I'm finna feed it from my hand. Oh, God, here we go. Oh! 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 God, thanks, bro. I couldn't.
Usually Dion, he comes in and he goes in his room and we won't see him for a while. And then he'll go. But this day, I was sitting in a chair. Dion was laying on the couch. And Dino was sitting there. And we turned the TV on. And we were watching Aladdin. And we were sitting there. And the best thing I could hear was hearing him laugh. And I'm thinking, watching freaking Aladdin with Will Smith, and this boy is sitting over here laughing, but it was the best time. He didn't have his phone, and he was just looking and laughing at Aladdin, and we watched the entire thing. And of course, I was working on block schedule. We had just decided to go to block schedules, and they wanted me to create the schedule, and so I was working on that, but I would not move because I was enjoying watching him laugh and lay on the couch. Dion said, Mama, can I go? And I was like, Dion, just go ahead and go. Because the ranch for me is sanctioned. I mean, nothing's going to happen there. Ain't nobody there. There's no drugs. There's nothing. So, yeah, go. Well, I turn around and I'm like, where's Dante? Is he in the bathroom? He's not doing his math packet. And Dino's like, I let him go. And I said, really? And then right then we got a call. And with him being law enforcement, nobody calls us. I mean, everybody knows our number. Either they know him by his badge number or something. So this was the strangest thing. I pick up the phone, and it's sheriff department, and I'm like, yes, and they say Dion Stutts, and there was an accident, and she said, your father has a ranch. Your grandfather's grandfather, and I was like, yes, my dad, and he said. There was an accident at the ranch, and he said Dante, and that's all I could hear. And I know we've been trained forever to stay calm, and I just lost it. I just started screaming, so I couldn't hear everything. But what I heard was Dante was hurt at the ranch, and so I told him, I said, Dante is hurt. Something's bad. It's bad. It's really bad. And he said, Shante, come on, let's go. And I was like, I can't go. And he said, come on, we gotta go. And I said, I can't. I said, I gotta stay here and pray. I just gotta stay here and pray. So I'm trying to understand what was happening. I'm like, Dante, I said, tell me what happened, where, because I'm just trying to figure out how Dion did not make this. Like, what he has done it several times. I know he's flipped before or whatever, like how this time. And he said, Mama, I knew it was bad. And I said, well, how? He said, well, when Dad said, God, no. And so Dino was telling me, he said, it took 2 other people to get the side by side off of him. And he said that Dante was back behind him. Was behind him. He said behind the truck. He said he told me, y'all get him behind. And I said, Dino, when you was trying to tell me the deputies that were beside you, but you could not remember who was in the middle. I said, that was Dante. Dante was in the middle. He was the one that was helping. I said, because he told me, he said, Mama, I was right there when they turned him over and when I saw him. And he was describing how he looked or whatever. And he said, Mama, he said, that was me. By this time, I think maybe it's 2 weeks out, maybe. We're driving up, and all of a sudden, Dante says, Mama, I got something to tell you. And I'm like, what? He said, you're not going to love me anymore. And I'm thinking, what can you tell me that I'm not going to love you anymore? And he said, I killed Dion. And so I'm thinking that we're back at the, because he wanted to see the cows.
He's been carrying this.
Yes, this is at least 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks that he's been carrying this, not saying anything. I'm trying to figure out like what's whatever. And he says right there when I stop, and he says, I killed Dion. And I said, Dante, you didn't because you asked to go see the cow. I said, if that's the case, I did. I said, I let him go. I should have let him go. And he said, no, Mama. He said, I did. I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, when I was pulling him off when it turned, and I pulled him. And he said, when I pulled, it dropped down and it dropped on his neck. And he said, it broke his neck and I killed him. And I said, Dante, all this time, this is what you thought? This is what you thought? And I said, let me tell you, I had people look at him, every bit of him. You had more scars and bumps and bruises. There was nothing hurt on your brother except for the top of his head where
the
that.
impact.
And I said, that was it. I said, you did not kill. And I'm telling you, the life that, it's like I took off a whole burden off of him. I could not imagine carrying it around, thinking that you tried to help and thinking that you had did that. And so, he just looking at me, he said, Mama, I didn't. I said, you didn't. I said, you didn't. I said, but you did do something. And he said, what? I said, your brother was a life. Like, he was always laughing. He said, yes. And if it wasn't for you, I would not have the last 3 minutes of his life.
That's right.
And I said, you recorded it for me. And I look at it often.
What happens in wrestling when a wrestler wrestles their last match, they take their shoes off and they leave it on the mat and they walk off. So we are forfeiting heavyweight tonight, and these are Dion's shoes.